Yes, Ashish.
Yes, yes. Yes, Ashish.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashish, again.
Thank you for joining, Ashish.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Let's wait for 5 more minutes. Ashish,
Sure.
all the message.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Hey, hi, Ridish.
Good evening, Ravi.
Ravi is not here. Ridish
Okay,
will be joining in few minutes.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, sure, sure.
yeah. I think we should start now. Ashish. So, good evening, everyone. For today's evening, our guest is Ashish Gupta. He holds almost 2 decades of experience in IAM domain. He is a senior IAM engineer now. And Ashish, could you please give your brief introduction and we can start?
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot. Good evening, all. This is for Indians, and in case we have other audience also from the other globe, good morning, good afternoon. As my name is given by Kishore already, my name is Ashish Gupta. And yes, I'm having close to 19 years of experience in identity and access management. I started my career as a test engineer in one of the project of identity and access in 2003 or 4. And since then, I've been into the journey of testing to the testing lead, managing multiple projects, leading the project teams. From the project manager point of view, also, I have done a couple of project management of the delivery of the projects. Then I have moved into the solution designing, where I was designing the solution as per the market, enabling the sales and enabling the pre-sales with what kind of capabilities of IAM are. And recently, I have taken another role wherein I'm leading the pre-sales team. I'm doing the consultancy, and I'm heading the implementation of IAM projects. So this is what my quick brief info would be all about.
Awesome, Ashish. Thank you for joining. Very grateful to you.
Okay, so I think I should get started as far as the time is concerned.
Yes, Ashish, sure.
Okay, so one of you please confirm whether my screen is visible and the presentation is also visible. Let me share my screen. Sharing is not turned on. Can
Okay.
admin make
Yeah,
me?
you can share now.
Okay. I hope my screen is now visible.
Yes, it is visible, Ashish. Yeah.
Okay, so I've given my intro, quick intro. Let's move on. So today's agenda would be how the life cycle of the identities managed in identity and access management portfolio, how the project implementations happens and what all the frameworks. The later one, we will be also defining the IAM scopes, the success criteria, and the different KPIs. So let's start with IAM lifecycle management, in which we are going to talk about how the onboarding happens, which is basically known as joining. And there is a term called mover in case somebody gets promoted, how the things will be managed in the IAM system. And in case someone resigns or company has to leave that person to go out from the company, or maybe a retirement could be an option. So at that time, how the leaver option should work. What all different type of access provisioning and deprovisioning best practices are as far as the market and my experience is concerned, we will talk about it. We will also talk about how the role-based access control works and how the attribute-based access control works, what all the differences between these two, and when to apply what. I mean, which one to apply in which kind of a scenario. We will also talk about just-in-time and least privilege access. So this is what the typical agenda is, and I hope I'm able to cover this much in 1 hour of time. And in case you have any question, any query, any feedback, please interrupt me and ask the question. Okay, so let's start with IAM and what about the life cycle. So in identity and access management world, the life cycle is known as JML. It is known as joiner, mover, and leaver. And it is the basic process in any of the organization to ensure that the identities and the users are having the appropriate access when they join the organization. let me ask you one question. What is identity and how many type of identities are available in any typical organization? Anybody can answer, unmute yourself. What is identity and how many types of identities are available in typical organizations?
Yeah, may Ashish, with my minimal experience, my own identity is a somebody hard. Okay. Digital entity of a human or non-human effort. So enterprises will have human, non-human service accounts, protocols. Kind of
Okay. And how many type of identities are available in any typical organization? High level.
2 to 3, yeah. Same, like human, non-human.
It's like user identity means and machine identity.
Human identities, workload identities, device identities.
Okay, correct. So let's club them in a nice wordings as far as the industry is concerned, and even the definition of identity. What is identity? Identity is an attribute of a user which identifies a unique resource within the organization. Am I clear? Identity is an attribute of a user defined uniquely in any of the organization. It could be your email address, it could be your employee ID, or it could be any workforce ID which you want, or which typically admins or IT admins have decided based on their policies and all. And there are, according to me, there are 3 type of identities which are available, as some of you answers correctly. The one is known as human identity. Another one is known as digital identity. The third one is known as privilege identity. Now, when we talk about user, when we talk about employee, contractor, or some other third-party vendor, and they are onboarded into my system, so automatically they becomes human identities. The human identities will be using the digital identities like databases, network devices, routers, switches, firewalls, your Linux servers, your Windows servers. So all these comes under digital assets. We can say digital identities. And the third one is known as privilege identity. What is privilege identity? Like if you are a normal user and you wanted to become a DB admin to do certain jobs, you are onto the production environment and you do not have credential to upgrade the latest patch. So you want more privileges. So you wanted to become a privilege user account on that particular machine. You are not having system, or you are not having permission on the finance app, but you wanted to do certain things over there. So those are something called as privilege identities, like a root account, administrator account, database admin account. Okay, so these are known as your privilege identity. So typically there are 3 type of identities which are available. I hope I'm clear so far.
Yeah, Ashish. Yeah.
Okay, so we have joiner, we have mover, and we have leaver. As I just now told, joiner is something when onboarding happens by the HR into the HRMS system. And from there, via the connector or via the driver, we pull out this information and make sure that IAM tool is also having the same attributes of the users and all. Mover is promotions internally, or somebody wants to work in a different team or a different role, and approval is done, and based on that, HR updates the user attributes. Leaver, resignation is one of the option. Asked by the company to leave the organization, termination basically, or a retirement kind of thing. So these are 3 different things which just comes under joiner, mover, and leaver. Okay. So by this, I covered this first slide on a very high level. So IAM provides, in case of joiner, IAM provides the user accounts based on role, department, and access needs. So it means what? The moment joining happens, a birthright role will be given to the user so that they can perform the bare minimum job from day number one. So this is what it is, that IAM system assigns the birthright role. The moment you come into the IAM system, you will get a birthright role with bare minimum set of permissions. And after that, in case somebody wants, they can give you that permission, or you yourself can request for that particular permission. Okay. So this can be done by using the role-based access control, which is known as RBAC, and we should implement MFA just after that. And we should integrate the IAM system with any type of HR systems which are available, like Workday, SAP, and this is for the automated user creation. It shouldn't be manual, like we are entering the attributes manually, and there will be typos, human mistakes will happen, and the same thing will be available into the IAM system, and vendor or client will start, pushing the solution designers that what kind of a solution this is. So please make sure at the time of joining, all the user related attributes are correct and a birthright role has been given to the user with a bare minimum access. Okay. Mover, an existing user moves to a new role, department, or to the project. They get new responsibilities. So what we should do, we should take back, first of all the accesses what that person is carrying, and based on new role, new department, the new permissions should be assigned. And this has to be workflow based. So if we do so, what is the best, what do you say, that benefit we are going to get? The segregation of duties. Someone who is applying for a leave should not be approving the leave. So this is what the separation of duties will be. We will talk about that a bit into the details in upcoming sessions, but I'm just starting from here. Similarly, there will be something called leaver, offboarding. The user leaves the company. IAM should revoke all the accesses, deactivate all the accounts, and remove the privileges. For achieving this, we should implement just-in-time access, which deprovisions the the lingering access across. And by doing this, what we can also ensure that the audit logs which are being captured, they will be taken care by the auditors at the time of audit, whether on this particular date all the accesses were taken back or not. So that will be part of your leaving. Okay, key challenges when we apply JML process, automated JML process. Number one, ensuring the timely deprovision is happening to avoid the orphaned accounts. What is orphan account? Anybody has any idea? I'm pretty sure they must be. What is orphan accounts?
The account which is not used for a long time and still there with all the accesses. If it is stolen or it is went to some wrong hand, then it is a threat for the organization.
And how we should find these orphan accounts? We should run the reports, which all users, which all permissions are being used and which all are not being used. Let's suppose an employee who doesn't log into HR system, which is his primary responsibility from last 30 days, then there is a trigger should be alerting that, okay, this could be an orphan account. Let's make sure that the account is active and the user is also active. Otherwise, remove this account from the system. Okay, so timely deprovisioning is very first key challenge. Automating the access request and approvals during the movement. Automating access requests. So user should be able to user should be able to request the new accesses which he or she wants, and approval also should be automated. It shouldn't be like somebody is giving just like that. No, manually. No, it has to be automated, and we should apply the workflows in which the request should go and the approval also should be there. Managing third party in the contract access. This is another challenge because employee generally doesn't leave the company within 15, 30 days or 45 days or 90 days. But as far as the third party or contractors are concerned, they keep on moving. So what we have to do, we have to have at the time of joining, we should be very aware that if they are contractors, we should have the joining date along with the last working. This ensures on that particular last working day, his or her account will be deactivated and the accesses will be removed. Audit trails are another key challenge. Who is doing what into the organization? So this audit trail we are supposed to capture, and we should capture in terms of audit. It could be IGA or it could be your access management, which can be used for this kind of managing the audit trails, but it has to be implemented. As far as top companies are concerned, the JML processes are concerned, SailPoint, Okta, Savient, and there are several other companies which are leaders as far as the IAM solution is concerned. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Ashish, Sushil here. So in terms of the JML process, in that you discuss about the mover process, and mover process means it's just like a SOD kind of, okay. But is it like means when any user move from one department to another department also, okay, it is how we implement that mover process. Sometimes we may have to implement the loose SOD. Loose SOD in terms of means, suppose I am working in one department, by some requirement I have to work in another department also. Then in that case, for next department, I may get the access for my next department for some couple of days. After that, it will get revoked. But still my first department access will remain intact. So we can implement loose SOD also in terms of the mover process. Is it true?
Yes, we can, but there has to be some process defined and the approvals needs to be done.
Yeah.
That this person will be working on two different projects, but he is in the HR department and he is also going to work in operations. So some sort of out of the box approvals are required so that my IAM system works according to that. And that is why we are saying that, the automating access and request approvals for the movers should be happening.
Yeah.
So there has to be access request and there has to be approvals.
Yes.
It cannot be manual. It has to be automated so that in case anything goes wrong, there is a accountability comes into the place.
Yes. Okay.
People should not be blaming the IAM solution, rather they should be blaming process.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Any other question? Else I'll move further. Okay, what are the different best practices for provisioning? I'm just talking about provisioning. I'm not talking about deprovisioning here, so do not get confused in between. Okay, access provisioning best practices for joiner and mover, not for leaver for sure. The very first pitfall is manual provisioning leads to delay and security risk. Manual provisioning means someone is doing it manually, typing it manually, and making other person responsible to push the data. No. My connector should be always up and running the moment any new entry is available in HR system, or any new attribute has been added, or any other attribute value is changed. My connector should be in listening mode always. Any change happens, it should take that value and update IAM tool accordingly. And that is why integration with HR systems like Workday, SAP, Oracle, HCM is very, very much required. And I'm not sure whether we have heard about it. There is something called IGA-driven provisioning. IGA-driven deprovisioning. In this, what happens, instead of we assigning the role by default, IGA admins go through with the policy, certify the policy, and that time only the person gets the roles and the permissions. So we should always implement IGA-driven provisioning and deprovisioning. This is what I would recommend. And for IGA, there are again multiple vendors are available. The best one is SailPoint and SailPoint, as per me. We should always enable role-based access control or attribute access control, attribute-based access control. One is the RBAC is static, whereas attribute-based one is dynamic. I will tell you the difference and which one to use when in the upcoming slide. Just hold your questions till that particular time. So this is the very first best practices for access provisioning point of view. Second one, we should always implement the least privileges to be given, and zero trust should come into the place. Zero trust is not a technology, it is a framework. It is a principle. So people always say that zero trust is something different. No, it is just a framework. So what is a pitfall? First of all, to understand, employee receive excessive permissions, increasing the attack surfaces. In case we do not have the least privileges to be given or zero trust to be managed, what happens? Employee keeps on getting the excess permissions. Whether he or she needs it or not, no one carries, no one bothers, no one takes care of that. And what happens? A user keeps on getting the permissions. No. What we should do, we should always give bare minimum access. On day number one, when the employee is joining, the very first birthright role is he should have the email address created. He should have access to all the HR related application, and wherever he is supposed to work, on whichever application he is supposed to work, his account should be created there along with a bare minimum permissions. Once he starts looking into it, or once he or she start working on the application, he or she will be the right person to decide what accesses are required, and for that they can use the workflows. And this is the automatic one. It happens very fast if it is dynamic. So bare minimum role, bare minimum permissions we are supposed to give, and no trust anyone. That is why it is called zero trust. It means no trust, whomsoever it may be, whether it is a CEO or whether it is an accountant or whether it is a normal operation guy. No trust. Please make sure that trust relation is available. You are the right authenticated person and you are having the right set of authorization. Then only we are going to give you the access. Else, no. No means no here. Zero means no, actually. Okay. We should always enforce multi-factor authentication during the provisioning. Can somebody make me understand when I say enable multi-factor authentication during provisioning? We are talking about access provisioning here. Anybody can unmute and try to make this session interactive as well.
So Ashish, what we do in men's, whenever we create the account and the credential, the initial credentials need to be sent to the line manager, not to the user, so that there should not be any means there should not be any direct access to the user. Once manager receives the information, it will be routed to that user with a guideline that he need to provide an access, and the MFA should be enabled on his machine or a phone, so that we can identify that the person is logging with which device and which location. So once it is identified with the server, when the MFA is implemented, we make sure that this is a legitimate user and is reaching out to my network. What I understand from that part.
You have reached to the point very
Yeah.
well.
Thank you.
As we are not talking about user provisioning here, we are talking about access provisioning. So access is very, very important. Let's suppose you do not have an account on one of the ERP tool and you got an access today. The moment you get an access, what you will do, you will start trying to logging into it. Which network you are using, public, private, we don't know. What sort of a location you are using for, we don't know. What is the IP you are using for that, we don't know. Whether you are the right set of person with the right set of credentials, we don't know. So very first time, a hacker also could be accessing it, right? So we don't know whether it is the right person or not.
True.
Though you are getting authenticated, though you are getting authorized, at the time of access provisioning, we should always implement MFA. It could be SMS OTP, email OTP, it could be any FIDO protocol, it could be biometrics, it could be application-based authentication. Any third-party MFA has to be implemented. I hope I'm clear. By this, what happens? The adaptive authentication comes into the place. I'm not sure whether we heard about this particular term, adaptive authentication. This is a new term coming out. What happens? Let's suppose I'm giving an example. You are working from home. You are in your home network with the router connected. Your Wi-Fi is connected, and you are supposed to leave for the office. And for that, you are supposed to book an Uber. And your session is still active. So what you are doing, you are booking the cab, and the moment cab arrives, you switch on to the data, mobile data, and keeps your session running. But in actual, the network has been changed. Correct?
True.
The network has been changed. We don't know whether it is the right set of person using it. So that's where the adaptive authentication comes into the place. The moment any attribute related to the session or any attribute related to the network layer changes, we should re-authenticate the user. And that is what it is called adaptive authentication. So this is another term which is currently working out in the market, and companies are working on it. I have not seen many companies implementing it right now, but there are several companies which are started working towards the adaptive authentication. And this is one of the key terms which is being used at the Gartner. Kupinger Cole, if we are following the Kupinger Cole, adaptive authentication is something which is coming.
So, Ashish, is it similar to step-up authentication? It is just like a suppose user provided 2 times wrong password and all this, then he may require to for gaining access to authenticate. Maybe he required 2 more authentication. So, like that step-up authentication.
No, the step up is different. Adaptive is different. I have given the example, right? Your Wi-Fi connection is different. Your data connection is different.
Okay, yeah.
So at the time of your session getting changed, or your network is getting changed, network IP is getting changed, network vendor is getting changed, that time we should do the re-authentication.
Okay, okay.
We should also enforce to use single sign-on as well. This improves the security and the user experience. That why I'm supposed to log in again and again and again. So we should also use SSL.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, access request and approval. Workflows has to be implemented. If there is no workflow, there is no accountability. I need a role. My friend is working on it, and I know that if I can go to this particular person, he will assign me this particular role. No, it's not required. Into the business, you should use workflow to request new access. New access request, the moment you upload it, it will go to the right business owner team who is responsible to give you an account, give you the permission. And maybe there could be another level of approval is also required by your manager or maybe by your head of the department. So that way accountability comes into the picture, as well as they all know that you are getting this permission. And there is a report comes into the place, audit comes into the place. So there are multiple benefit of implementing workflows. Okay. So this is what the best practices as far as the access provisionings are concerned. Now I'm talking about deprovisioning, where I'm going to talk about how to do the automation while deprovisioning with the HR systems. Number one issue is there will be orphaned accounts. We have already heard about what is orphan account. They remain active after employee exits. There is no Kishore working into the one of the company, but still his account is available. What is the meaning of it? No. Along with the permissions, still active. What is the meaning of it? It is not used. It is not existing anymore. So we should be able to get a trigger out of it. That this account is not being used in last 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, or whatever the time period is defined by the company. We should be able to get a trigger. That way, orphan accounts will be low as well as your security on a high. Okay. So automate deprovisioning with the HR system. We should do it. Implement PAM for the high risk users. What is PAM? PAM is privileged access management. We will talk about this into the detail in upcoming sessions. But privileged access is basically the privileged identities. Basically, I talked about identities, third part, privileged identities. You are not having permission as a root, but you wanted to become a root. So PAM allows you to work as root without letting you know the credentials. It will simply elevate your session and it will start recording also what all you do. And in case you are typing any risky command or doing anything wrong into this privilege session, your session can be logged out.
Revoke. Yeah.
And user sometimes can be disabled, so depending upon the level of criticality of the command. So we should always implement PAM as far as the deprovisioning is concerned. When the user is getting deprovisioned, it means is all privilege rights are also removed. Not only his identity is getting removed, his privilege rights are also getting. Identity is getting removed, access is getting removed, privilege access is also getting. So this is the benefit if we implement PAM. I know there could be a complexity in terms of licenses, but as far as safety, security, and the risk is concerned, it reduces. There are some best tools which are available into the market, CyberArk, Beyond Trust. These are the two which I could name for. So we should implement PAM at the time of deprovision. We should have the access reviews and audit process. How we can do so? If we implement identity governance, which is called IGA. Sometimes what happens, the access reviews are not happening, the audit is not happening. I have asked for one of the access for a quarter, I got it, but after that quarter is done, no one is reviewing it, no one is taking that permission back. This increases the risk. So there has to be access reviews to be done, and that to be on a timely manner. It cannot be like once in a year I'll do it. No. We should have IGA tool running. We should have the access reviews defined and access reviews definitions to be defined. There will be admins who will be getting this particular report based on the policy written, and they should be able to at least trigger the right set of notification to the right team members to take further action. Okay, so this is going to be the benefit if we implement IGA for the access reviews. As far as audit is also concerned, IGA also helps in collecting all sort of audit trails, all sort of audit, what the user is doing and what the user is not doing. So, and IGA also helps in compliance and regulatories as far as your different type of compliances are concerned, like NIST, HIPAA, SOX, ISO. IGA tool understands these kind of protocols, what they should be doing it. For a different industry, if it is a manufacturing industry, where the IAM is being implemented, ISO is the right protocol to be used, or you can say the compliance to be used. If you are from a hospital industry working in US, Europe, HIPAA is the best, which government forces to use it. Similarly, NIST, PCCI DSS, all these compliances are available as far as the IGA tools are concerned. So we need not to have another layer where we will be putting several set of auditors who will be coming doing this audit based on the government defined actions. No, my IGA tool is there. We have the policies written. It will automatically do a reporting at that particular time, as per the defined time, and auditor will come and check the report. That's it. So IGA should be placed as far as deprovisioning is concerned. Enforce the data retention and the secure offboarding policies. Sometimes what happens, we have deactivated the user, but some of the company sensitive data applications like email, the clouds and all, we forgot to remove the access. So we should enforce data retention, that till when my data will be available. It means the audit will be available, logs will be available, and the user activities will be listed down, number one. Number two, securing the offboarding policies. We should have a IGA-driven deprovisioning also in place, so that securely from all the connected applications, the access is being given. Whether it is a GWS, whether it is AWS, Salesforce, there are so many other public Confluence, ERPs, where the account would be and we don't know. So that way, if we are implementing IGA properly, then from the IGA, we should be able to deprovision access. So these are some of the best practices which I could talk about in case someone is having some more idea or they wanted to add anything. Please unmute and speak.
Ashish, I think here just means in terms of the lever process, whenever any user left the organization. So as per the standard audit and all this compliance perspective, means immediate last working day, we are not actually deleting the ID. We keep it for some days, but that will be in disabled state. And in case after some duration of a time, his ID and all access ID will get deleted even from the HR system. The reason behind is, suppose a user left the organization after 1 year, suppose he rejoined the organization, then his original ID he will get it, but access he has to request it again. That is the process normally we follow.
Yes, that is also true. Apart, organization to organization, they can delete, disable the user account on the last working day itself. As far as accesses are concerned, they has to be taken out.
Yeah.
As far as his account deletion is concerned, that is up to the company and the company policies, whether they wanted to delete that user in 90 days, or they wanted to do after 180 days, or they wanted to do after 2 years. So that is up to them. But
Yeah.
account will be in disable mode. No permissions will be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so these are some of the key points. We should automate IAM and HR integration. We should use RBAC, ABAC for the access control only at the provisioning time. Enforce least privilege and zero trust, both are applicable, provisioning, deprovisioning both. Enable MFA and adaptive authentication at the time of provisioning, not required at the time of deprovisioning. Self-service access request, it means individuals should be able to request for the new accesses, obviously required at the time of access provisioning. Automating deprovisioning and revoke access immediately, obviously not doesn't comes under provisioning, only comes under deprovisioning. We should implement PAM for the privileged users. Yes, provisioning access and deprovisioning access, both time it is required. We should do the periodic access reviews and certifications. Yes, IGA-driven policies has to be written, and any provisioning, any deprovisioning has to be IGA-driven. Enforce secure offboarding and data retention. At the time of provisioning, access might not be required, but for the time of deprovisioning, it is must. Okay. Understand what is RBAC. Role-based access control. You are a manager, you will get this role. You are a director, you will get this role. You are a CISO, you will get this role. You are CEO, you will get all this. This is what is role-based access control. Okay. What are the top challenges as far as role-based access control is concerned? Let's suppose I'm working in a company and having multiple roles. I am project manager, I am people manager, I am IT manager, I am having database admin account, so I am database admin also. I'm doing multiple jobs. So obviously what will happen? I will get multiple accesses, which shouldn't be there. So this is what is known as role explosion. Too many roles becomes hard to manage. And a role contains permissions. So I got 4 roles. Each role has 10 permissions. Obviously, I got 40 different permissions into the system, which I should not. Okay. What I should be doing it, I should be doing with the least access, which I'm supposed to. And all these roles should be assigned by the access request and by the approvers. Not like based on role I got it. No. I shouldn't get just like that. There has to be accountability. Okay. RBAC also doesn't handle the dynamic access. Time of day, which location you are using from. Obviously, if I'm not calculating these, then there is going to be a challenge. In one of the company, it has happened that the person was in India at midnight, and just after 10 minutes, he logged in from the Middle East. Because he was having the different roles and the permissions. So thankfully, the IAM system was able to capture this timing as far as the access was audit access was concerned. So based on that, we were able to fetch this information that just 10 minutes before he was in India, his IP address is coming from here. After 10 minutes, the IP address is coming from Middle East. So we were able to get that after 10 minutes, his account was hacked and someone tried to come into the system from some other geographic location. RBAC, as I'm told, it contains all the permissions into one role. So it is not a granular access. There is no granularity of this. It increases the complex situations. It increases the security issues. As far as attribute-based access control is concerned, yes. The key feature I'm talking about, it is based on user attribute. It is based on resource attributes. It is based on environmental conditions instead of just a static role like I got it from RBAC. No. This contains the granularity of it. Okay. The attributes include user identities like department. What sort of the resource properties you have, like the document classifications or the context, from which location you wanted to use, what type of device you wanted to use. So that granularity comes into them. It is more flexible and granular than your role-based access control. Okay. So I'm giving a couple of examples. I think that will help. A doctor can access the patient record only for the assigned patient, not for the other doctor's patient. But using RBAC, as I am part of, let's suppose the cardiac department, and I am holding a senior role over there, as my colleague is also senior. So we got the same role. So I can see who all are going to, meet you as well as who are going to meet me. No, it shouldn't happen like this. A doctor should only be in a position to access the records only for the assigned patients. An employee can access company files within the corporate network. Adaptive authentication comes here within the corporate network. But from any untrusted IP addresses, we will not be able to give you the permission. Okay, time-based attribute. Contractor has temporary access to a project for just 30 days. After 30 days, access will be removed. This is based on attribute. But again, as someone said, there are pros and cons of each and everything. As RBAC is not so good and attribute based access control is somewhat looking good, but still there are challenges with the IBAC also. It is more complex to implement. If your organization is having all the policies written properly, that to whom we wanted to give what, then it is okay to implement ABAC. Otherwise, it is going to be more complex. Within a department also, you will not be able to implement it properly. And that is why I mentioned requires a well-defined attribute schema and governance. So it requires a lot of effort, a lot of work. And sometimes what happens, performance concerns comes if the policy evaluation is too complex. RBAC, simple, you have this role, you got all the permissions. Here, the problem comes, first of all, the check attribute. If attribute matches, what's permission you should get? If that permission is given, then only you'll be able to access. So there are multiple challenges as far as performance is concerned in ABAC. Any question on RBAC and ABAC? So this is what the glimpse is, what we had just spoken about. I can share this PPT later, but this is what it is. One is working on predefined roles, where the other one is on attributes. The RBAC is role-based. Your ABAC is dynamic. One is static, one is dynamic. RBAC is easier for the small organization. ABAC is good for the, ABAC is becoming more complex but scalable. HR, IT, finance, it is good to implement RBAC. As far as other departments are concerned, it is good to implement ABAC. Now the question comes, can we use both? Yes, we can use both. At the department level, we can use. Now, when to use RBAC and when to use ABAC, I have given it a little down. When you have fixed number of job roles within the well-defined permissions, you should use RBAC. Your organization is not very complex. It is small to medium sized and simple accesses are defined, then RBAC is good. If you need quick and easy implementation, RBAC is good. When ABAC is supposed to be used, if you need dynamic and real-time access control. In case your organization deals with high sensitive or classified type of data, you should use ABAC. If you want context-aware security policies like location, time, weekends, no access, from this time to this time, no access, then you should use attribute as access control. I hope it is clear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ashish.
Ashish.
Ashish, just a one question maybe. So can we say like that, depending upon ABAC, RBAC can be implemented in the scenario, suppose ABAC, consider a scenario during mover process. Suppose user location change, means location attribute change. So once user location attribute change, his role is getting changed because location. So can we say like that? RBAC may have dependency on ABAC.
Both are dependent on each other actually.
Okay, yeah.
As far as actual rights are concerned, that will come when the policy is getting executed and policy gets all the, policy, what do you say? Policy execution is successful. Whether it is
Okay.
RBAC, whether it is ABAC. And yes, ABAC comes into the very first place because it is an attribute level.
Yeah.
And RBAC comes after that because based on the attribute, we are going to give the RBAC again. But RBAC will give you a well-defined role and the permissions. In ABAC, you will get only what you can do it
Okay.
because it is just an attribute based.
Mm.
RBAC is not an attribute based.
Yeah.
It is role based. What role you have. Role is also an attribute. Okay, that way you don't want to get confused.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, shall we move next? Hey,
Yeah,
Kishore,
sure.
I think I will not be able to cover the entire one today. But let's see how much it goes. Okay, let's move on. Let's understand what is least privilege access and just in time. Again, least privilege is a principle. It is a framework which we are supposed to define, where users are granted only the minimum permissions necessary, not all the permissions. As I said, at the time of provisioning, it has to be birth access given. Birth right access, that's it. Your account is created in, your email address has been created, your account has been created, your target application is given to you, your account is created on that. That's it. After that, whatever is required, just request for it and get it approved from the workflow point of view. So this is what is least privileges is all about. What are the key features of the least privilege? It restricts the excessive access to be given. It applies to all the identities, whether it is users, admins, applications, machines, whatever it may be. So it will be applicable on all type of identities. It prevents the lateral movement in the cyber attacks. Obviously, if you do not have all the access, you have only the least access, obviously then hacker might not be able to get into the right set of permissions mode. And it is mandatory from the regulatory compliances also. When we talk about ISO 27001, NIST, SOX, and GDPR, that the least privilege has to be managed. So that way, the least privilege comes from the IAM solutions. For it, I think you got it. A developer can read productions logs, but cannot modify the live systems. This is just one of the example I've given. Then what are the challenges when we implement the least privilege? Managing too many granular roles becomes a complex type of work. When we are implementing least privilege, so we should know about each and every application, each and every device, that for a layman, what all least privileges has to be given. So first of all, we should know about the target application, the target device. There are n number of target applications, n number of target devices. So my IAM admin or someone who is implementing it, they should be knowing about what all the least privileges on those applications, those devices. Then only I can implement, correct? So we need to understand that. So it becomes a little complex work. Permission creep happens. User accumulates access over time. Though you are having the least privilege, but user accumulates. So there has to be reviews of the access. That's what I mentioned in the previous slides, that we should have access reviews to be done in a defined period. And very hard to enforce manually. You cannot do it manually. If you are talking about a complex environment where thousands of target applications are there, 1,000 type of devices are there, then manually you cannot enforce. So for that, you are supposed to have an IAM tool. And in IAM tool also, you need a very good implementer. And we need very good SPOC from each and every team so that we can define the least privileges. And based on that, we have to implement. Otherwise, just from a vendor point of view, it is not going to work out. So it is very, very complex, but it is one of the mandatory compliance. What is just in time? Just in time is something, in one word, if I have to make you understand, it is something called on demand. You demand for it, request for it, someone will approve it. The moment someone approves, you will get it. This is what just in time is. It is a temporary and a time-bound access given only for some of the critical systems. It is not going to be a permanent access. It is just for limited time given. Okay. What are the key features of just in time? It removes the standing privileges. Obviously, you will not have this kind of a permission for longer time. It is whenever you required, it is not available. It is only available in that window. During that window, you can use it. And after the time is expired, automatically the access will be taken back. It works well as far as your digital assets are concerned, digital identities are concerned. For that, we should implement PAN. And it has to be via automated workflows. in which the time is the main factor, which we have to define. I'm giving 2-3 examples over here. One of the database administrator gets an access to modify a database table only for 2 hours. And then after, the access is revoked. A cloud engineer gets temporary AWS admin rights to deploy a service. Just upgrade the system. And after that, you are not having that particular access. A third-party vendor gets VPN access for a maintenance task, which expires afterward. So this afterward, we have to define it. And this temporary, we have to define it. From point number 2, temporary, we have to define it. And afterward, we have to define it. As far as the DBA example was concerned, it is pretty much clear that within 2 hours, you are supposed to finish your work. Again, pros and cons. There are cons, or I would say challenges. If not properly automated, user may face delays. Just in time is something critical needs to be done. Your production is down and the main engineer is on vacation. Just in time works. I have requested for it. No, there is no one to approve it. Production will be down. Escalations will go on. So it has to be automated, properly automated, and there should not be much delays into it. It requires integration. Just in time requires integration because it is only for couple of hours, couple of weeks, couple of days. It has to be IGA driven. Any access provisioning is happening, it has to be IGA driven. And in case you are implementing PAM, or I would recommend to use PAM because it is for digital identities. The session recording has to be done. The keystroke has to be done. As far as the video records are concerned, they are supposed to be generated. In these 2 hours, if you are getting access, what kind of a commands you can execute, what all you can do, what all you cannot do will be defined by the PAM. So if you are implementing this on-demand access, which is just-in-time access, we should use IG and PAM both. And because of this, the operational cost increases, the license cost increases, and that's why it is a challenge for the organization. Okay, so these are some of the key differences as far as least privilege access just in time is concerned. The purpose is very clear. It minimizes the user permissions permanently. This is least privilege. Whereas in just in time, the purpose is granting the temporary access whenever it is required. Access type, persistent type in LPA, which is restricted. As far as just in time is concerned, it is on demand, it is time bound. Risk reduction, LPA prevents privilege creep. Just in time eliminates the standing privileges. Automation requirement, manual reviews and role adjustment needs to be done. As far as just in time is concerned, fully automated approval workflows. Use cases, standard users, business applications. If we are talking about, we should implement LPA. If we are talking about the access to the digital identities, we are talking about privileged users, high risk access, at that time we should implement just in time. I hope I am clear so far.
Yeah, Ashish.
There are several tools available as far as PAM and IGA is concerned. IGA I have already talked about, like SailPoint, Savient, NetIQ. As far as PAM is concerned, CyberArk, Beyond Trust, Delinea. There are so many other vendors are available as far as PAM is concerned. So just go through with the best practices. And let me drink water in the meantime. Any questions so far on identity lifecycle, joiner, mover, lever, RBAC, ABAC, least privilege access, just-in-time access? Any questions?
Ashish, can you please explain the difference, like the scenario based on IGA driven provisioning and the direct provisioning?
Okay.
Yeah.
So in typical normal provisioning, what is happening is that an interview process starts, offer letter given. On the day of joining, resource comes to the organization, provides the basic information to the HR. HR collects that information, put it in the HRMS system. And from HRMS system, my IAM connector or the driver pull this information into IAM system. Correct? And based upon that, we get access. Whether it is RBAC, whether it is ABAC, based upon that, user gets access on the business application. And user will start functioning as well. So this is a typical provisioning. There is no IGA coming into this, correct? So Sushil asked this question.
Yes, Ashish.
You will. Hello.
Hello, Ashish, you are not audible.
I am audible or not?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so simple provisioning I have already explained. Now understand the IGA driven provisioning. Again, the same process. It starts with interview, offer letter given. Employee comes on the joining date, HR collects the information and feed into HRMS. The moment HRMS is updated, my connector gets this information and sends it to IGA. In IGA, it will be verified whether user profile is getting created based on the policies like email address creation policy, user ID creation policies, password policies are being taken care. As far as his mandatory attributes are concerned, those are available. And user is going into this particular department, whether the birthright role is supposed to be given is correct or not. Based on this, employee will be assigned into one of the department. The moment user is available into the department, a birthright role will be given by the IGA. That this is what bare minimum access you require based on your department and based on your role. So there is something written in IGA already as a framework. IGA says, yes, first of all, I will come, then only your provisioning will be done. So what is the benefit here?
Ashish, your voice is too low.
Is it so? Is it only now or right from the beginning?
No, from IGA. You have explained. Like it was breaking.
Okay, now it is proper.
Yes, Ashish.
Okay, so I was talking about IGA provisioning. Interview process starts. User comes on the day of joining. HR collects the information, feeds into the HRMS system, At that time, my connector collects this information and it starts sending it to IAM. The moment IAM comes into the place, I have written a policy in IGA that any new user creation or any provisioning has to be done by IGA first. So IGA will feed the policy in which 3 or 4 major things will be checked, like whether your email is created based on the company policy, whether your user ID is being created as per company policies, whether your passwords are created as per the password policies, and all the mandatory fields are available or not. If yes, then this provisioning will happen based on your role and based on your department. The moment your provisioning is done, IGA makes sure that you get bare minimum access, which is called birth access rights. This will be started by IGA. IGA will be sitting on a driving seat and it informs the users that this much of basic information, basic rights has been given it to you already. All the notification goes to the user's account. There is no manual needs to be done. Policy driven. It is IGA policy driven. Once the basic or the bare minimum roles, bare minimum permissions are given, then only user can start working on it. And it happens on day 0 itself. So what is the benefit we are getting over here? Provisioning was not covered by IGA, number 1. It means there was no accountability as far as user provisioning into IAM is concerned. There was no accountability as far as access provisioning is concerned. From the compliance point of view, from the risk point of view, from the audit point of view. What we are doing in the typical provisioning scenario, we are hiring the employee, onboarding the employee, giving the access, and then doing the IGA. It is happening opposite as far as IGA driven is concerned. Very first place IGA comes and sits. That user provisioning will happen based on IGA driven policies. Access will be given based on IGA. So there is no point we waiting till the last. IGA is right from the beginning. So there is an accountability from the provisioning is concerned, whether it is user provisioning and access provisioning. There is risk compliance comes into the place, as well as government compliances comes into the place, and there is a certification will be given by IGA that this flow has completed end to end and it is proper as far as the company policies are concerned, as far as government policies are concerned. So one says, I will do the governance later. The other one, which is the best way of doing it, is I will do the governance first and then doing all the provisioning of users, access provisioning, and all other things later. So this is the benefit of IGA-driven provisioning of the users into the organization.
So Ashish, access review can become very hectic in the direct kind of provisioning, right? Typical provisioning.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you please pardon yourself?
Am I audible now, Ashish?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I was saying that so access review part can be very hectic in the a direct or typical kind of provisioning.
Yes, because by the time you are doing this access review, you have already given access to many employees, right?
Yes.
So that is why I'm saying it has to be IGA driven rather doing it later. It should be IGA driven.
Okay.
IGA should certify that yes, this access is required to be given and give it.
Yes, Ashish, it clarifies my doubt now. Thank you.
Yeah, Ashish, sorry, I just have one question. Now, IJ, DN provisioning and direct provisioning. So in that case, consider two, we have application. One is the HR application and we are doing the authentication against the Active Directory. Okay. So direct provisioning means suppose user joins, so he will have account in our HR application, because where HR feeds their data. And then for authentication, his account will be directly created in Active Directory through our IGA system, through our IGA system. But are you saying that through IGA driven process, during onboarding, his ID will be created only in HR process, but in Active Directory, his account will not get created immediately. Is it like that?
Yes. Why I'm saying it? IGA comes into the very first place. It ensures that all mandatory values are coming as far as the user attributes are concerned. Number one, it makes sure that you are joining into the right department. You are getting the right designation. Based on your department and role, you are going to get basic access, right?
Yeah.
That basic access is what? Let's suppose you are a third-party vendor. You are a third-party contractor or vendor, and you don't require a email account into My Active Directory. You can use your account, which is given by your company. Why should I create your account into my system? So, which type of birthright role will be given? It is decided by IGA. In case it is an employee, I will give the birthright role and create his account into the Active Directory. If you are not an employee, I will not create your account. Why should I burden my Active Directory for it? And the moment I create your account in Active Directory, I will get the I can start implementing the domain level policies. With that domain level policies, your further access can be granularly taken care. Otherwise, I need to do it for contractor also.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So birthright role has to be decided by IGA. And that is why IGA should be in very first place.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah. I have 3 slides. Kishore, should I complete these 3 slides or let's open for the questions and answers?
Only 3 slides are there, right, Ashish? Are they big or how much time will they take?
That will take around 10 to 15 minutes max, I would say.
Yeah, so we can continue if you have time.
Okay, let's finish that.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk about a typical implementation of a project, IAM project. I will not talk about the key activities in detail, but I'll be able to cover it up. Let's start. So very first phase should be assessment. Assessment of what? What is the objective? Why you are taking care of, why you are taking IAM as a solution? So we should understand the gaps. Is there any security risk included? What all the kind of compliances are required? So assessment is a phase where consultancy comes into the phase to understand why you need it, what all areas you are going to be used, what all compliances you are supposed to be required, what kind of integrations are required, like Active Directory is required, HR systems are required, databases integrations are required, whether you require RBAC, ABAC, just in time, what sort of compliance is supposed to be followed. So based on that, I can draw a high level architecture, okay, and collect all the business and the security related requirements. So it is a deliverable that IAM gap analysis report will be available and business and security requirements will be available to me. And this will help me in creating the architecture. Now, after the consultancy is over, let's define the strategy. Let's define the policies and the architecture. So this is basically a documentation kind of a work. SOWs or different architectures, low-level diagram, high-level diagram, network-related things, what kind of a solution hardware you required, what kind of protocols, protocol and ports to be used, whether within firewall or outside the firewall, whether VPN is required or not required. So all this comes the documentation part. So key activities, again, the defining the IAM policies, the governance framework, designing the RBAC ABAC model, the role structure we have to understand. We have to establish the strategies for the just-in-time and the least privilege, identifying the integration points. HR system is there, cloud applications are there, target business applications are there, what kind of technologies they are into, whether I can get an API call, whether I can do REST API calls, whether I can do database calls to fetch the entitlements and then do the access control based on it. So this is what are the key activities is for planning phase. Deliverables would be IAM architecture, roadmap, and the strategy for aligning your compliance and security needs. Once we understand the IAM architecture, SOW is signed, sign-off has been given, PO has been given, then actual implementation starts. So at this time, we do the, first of all, JML process, joiner, mover, lever. Connect with your HR, develop a connector in between, and a IAM solution, whether your life cycle is happening properly or not. Your attributes are coming and flowing in properly or not. The moment you change any attribute in HRMS system, they are getting replicated or not. Anybody is moving on this particular date, whether that account is getting deactivated or not. So all this testing, we can do it at the very first phase of implementation. Once this is done, we can configure SSOs, single sign-on, MFA, or conditional access. We can set up PAM. We can automate provisioning and deprovisioning by the IGA. We can integrate IAM solutions, whether it could be cloud or whether it could be on-prem. So this is what will be the implementation phase. The deliverables, we have the configured IAM system. We have configured and integrated applications. We have done the workflows. Okay. Then comes the testing. First of all, we should do it in UAT, get the sign off, and then start rolling out things into your production environment. And once your testing is completed, then you can roll out for the production. Again, after doing the production rollout, the user training has to be done, the documentation has to be done properly, SLAs has to be defined, we have to hand over to support. All those things are the deliverables of your deployment phase. Obviously, one cannot leave just after deployment. We have to do a continuous monitoring of the solution. What is happening correct, what is not happening correct. Something which is not happening correct, then we have to sit, redefine the policies, sit with the SPOCs, understand what is not happening correctly, and then change it. And we can also configure the SIM tools for the transaction-based audit control. Okay. So these are typical project phases which I can lay it down. I hope it makes sense. Any question on it? Okay. So what could be the success criteria of any IAM? When I say we have implemented the project, what does that mean? How can you define success? Very first key factor when we say IAM is success into your organization is the user experience. Employees, contractors, partners, they can access your resources with minimal friction. It means your SSO, if you are implementing passwordless feature, they are being used by the end user. They are not being used by the admins on each and every day, but they are being used by the individuals each and every day. So the user experience is one of the critical factor as far as your IAM success is concerned. Security and risk reduction. There has to be reports implemented. I mean, reports for MFA, reports for all the phishing events which are coming up or coming out from the system, unauthorized access. How many people are trying to do authentication and authorization, but they are not getting access into it. So we should be able to get this and understand from that report that, okay, out of 100 people, 80 are not getting authorized. Why? Let's understand that. Sit. Only 20 are getting it. Why? Understand it. Otherwise, it will be escalation, support tickets and all. Access governance is the third success factor. We should always implement least privilege access, and it has to be, the provisioning has to be IGA driven provisioning. It ensures user has only the permission they need. That's it. Bare minimum permissions, always. There has to be provisioning and deprovisioning automated. It has to be workflows. PAM should be in place for accessing the digital identities, managing all the sessions. It means controlling all the sessions as well. What you can do, what you cannot do if you are becoming a privileged member, privileged admin onto some of the digital identity. All your regulatory and the compliances are being met. The finance team should be happy. Your IT team should be happy. Your network team should be happy that yes, we are not getting any attacks because of this solution. We are not having any finance related issues. We are safe from the auditing point of view. And the operational efficiencies like reduction, time, and the support to be given for like password reset, access issues, role modifications. All these has to be very, very minimal. If we are able to get all these factors, then based on the success, what you can make it out. If anyone is able to do 60% of this, we can say it is a successful implementation of the project. So guys, this is what I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. Any questions, I'm ready to answer.
Yeah, actually, just the last question from my side. It is just like means you come across different IAM products and all this. So as a IAM solution, if you want to implement any, so we need to analyze different products. But different products are having some licensing cost also involved. Okay, licensing cost. So within that budget framework, okay, suppose if you want to implement best IAM solution, or in that case, so how we can, which strategy we should think about it?
The very first thing is cost is always a factor. Yes, true.
Yeah.
So we need to evaluate what is your requirements are first of all. So you should know what is your requirement first of all, and based on that you start engaging with the different vendors and understand what features they have, how great they are from the safety, security, and fulfilling the requirement point of view. If someone is not able to give you that particular feature, obviously, if he says I'll charge 100 rupees per user, obviously you will not take that, right?
Yeah.
So so you have to first of all get to know what kind of solutions they are into, whether they have the capability of solving something.
Okay.
In case you wanted to get some sort of a proof of concept to be given by the vendor, you should request for it, like POCs and POVs, proof of concepts and proof of values. And
Yeah.
Costing comes at the last, as per me. Costing should be at the last. You should be able to, first of all, make sure that why are you implementing this IAM? It is not to just someone has said that you have supposed to implement it, and implement the cheap one into them from the market. No, right? There has to be some definition why you need it. So that why you have to, first of all, answer it. That
Okay, yeah.
comes with the several factors: security, network, cost, users, passwords, accesses, auditing, compliances. From these angles, you have to think about it. And then you decide a vendor, okay, these 2-3 vendors looks good to me. And then go for an operational negotiation kind of a mode where you can think about it that, okay, this is my budget is. So that way the negotiation window opens, and that time you can decide whether this works for me or this works for me or this works, and then choose whichever fits well. So understanding your requirement, understanding the solution, what someone is giving, whether they are capable or not capable, then you should be looking at the cost. Cost is last.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Ashish. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
Any more questions, please?
Hello, Ashish. This is Vaibhav here. I want to ask one question: that what is the roadmap for becoming an IAM architect and consultant? This is it, please.
There is no roadmap like there is hard work. Hard work is the roadmap. To
Okay.
understand, that first of all, see, you have to understand the theoretical part and then connect the dots in practically and technically. So first of all, if you don't know about the jargons, JIT, RBAC, policy-based access control, attribute access-based control, or JML or IGA or certifications, access reviews, recertifications, SODs, then we have to, I think, put a lot of effort, first of all, to understand what product does what. We have to understand IAM is not a very small, I would say, the suite. It contains identity management, it contains access management, it contains multi-factor authentication, it contains privilege access, it contains identity governance. So there are many products comes under this IAM. So it requires, time, effort, and your zeal, how much you wanted to learn. So it is not very easy, but it is not very hard also.
Yeah, understood. Thank you. Thank you, Ashish, for this session.
Sure. Okay, so over to you, Kishore. I think we are not too bad as far as timings are concerned.
Ashish, it was an excellent session. Could not thank you enough for this session.
Thank you.
It is like very wholesome session for any fresher as well as for the experienced individual. Got to learn like new terminologies like adaptive
authentication.
Yeah, it was awesome session, and I really excited for your upcoming sessions.
Sure.
Yes.
We will talk about it later about the next session.
Yes, Ashish. So thank you everyone for collaborating and
just a second, Kishore. Let me just go through the chat in case any question over there.
Yes, sure.
I joined late. Could you please provide this recording session?
Yes, it will be uploaded on the YouTube. You can watch it there.
No. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot for all the great feedbacks what I'm receiving in chat. Thank you all. And let's see in the next session. Let's see in the next session. Thank you.
See you in the next session. Take care, Ashish. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kishore. Thanks,
Bye.
Ashish.
Thank you.